Merry goddamn Christmas. Let's talk crap about Celtic.
Woo! Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about. Woo!
Everyone, my name is Kikazi and welcome back. 2 seconds. Hello everyone, my name is Kikazi and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome. Thank you for coming along and checking out this video first of all. But most of you might be coming over from a couple of videos that went kind of semi-viral, if you will. I know there's a clip of me that went around on TikTok because my little brother sent me a screenshot telling me that he's seen my face. So yeah, whoever that Louis Houston is, fair play to you lad, bank those views, go on my son. But yeah, I hope you're having a wonderful festive season. I've done up my wall. This is pre-Livingston, by the way, so this video will probably come out on Christmas Day. Hopefully there's some good news. We'll start off with the basics. Green Brigade, they will be back. They will be absolutely returning for the Livingston game. We've been talking about how dead the atmosphere, it's basically been crap at home games, let's be honest, so it's nice to be able to have them back, especially towards the run, towards the end of the new year. We're going to basically have to have all of the things that work for us. We need all the luck in the world, especially with the form that we've been in. It's been quite fucking pish, to be honest. So there's also been some other news as well regarding the whole European Super League, because that's kicked up as well. Both Celtic and Rangers have basically told UEFA there's nothing to worry about. We're still very much kind of nailed to the UEFA mast for now. So, but what you're probably here for, what you're probably wanting to hear about mostly are the transfer news, because like I said, I tend to keep a close eye on potential rumours or rumours that have been developing, especially over the last few weeks. And because I've not been well the last few days, I've been able to essentially, you know, sit and keep up tabs with it a little bit better. So I'm going to run through some options that in January we could take. I'll start off with the lesser kind of probable players that will sign and kind of work my way up to ones that seem almost dead set, if not almost absolutely set to happen. So bear with me while I run through this list. Before I do anything else, if you like this sort of content, if you want to see more stuff like this, more video based content anyway besides the live streams, make sure to subscribe and give me video ideas, because most of the stuff that I do, especially when it comes to video stuff, is things that the community have given me ideas for. So if you'd like to do so, that's the best way to do it. You can turn on the little bell as well, so whenever I do upload or go live, you don't miss anything. To the point now. We'll start with outgoings, because I think that makes the most sense. I think a lot of us have seen a couple of players that are mentally or not physically basically not good enough for this club and they're on their way out. And the biggest one, the one that almost seems to be basically confirmed, is Kobayashi. He seems to be wanting to head back to Japan. The club doesn't seem likely to stop him because he's not played a key role in any aspect since he's been signed last January. So honestly, I don't think he's going to be missed, but I feel bad for him because at the same time, you know, he came over to a different country and gave it a shot. So while I can respect it, the guy just isn't Celtic quality. So that's that, I suppose. Another big one that seems almost dead set, unless something miraculously changes over the next few weeks, is Leila Barrett. There have been a couple of Premier League teams. The one that I've seen the most linked with him is Brentford for some reason, but there's obviously been links with him across the Championship. There's a couple of Serie A teams in for him as well, and one or two French teams, but there's essentially a lot of noise around him because of the political indifference. Obviously, for those that don't know, Celtic is very pro-Palestine. Abad is Israeli, so on top of that, he's been injured for a good amount of the season so far, and even when he has been fit, he's not been selected. We've been starting Mikey Johnston in the team, so that should really tell you everything you need to know about where that most likely is going to head. It's not confirmed. For all we know, Abada might stay for, you know, however long, but as things stand right this second, as of the 21st of December, it doesn't seem likely that we'll be keeping a hold of him. At the very least, at the start of next season, he won't be here. We've got another Asian one as well, and that's Kwon. Although he's not being cast aside, he's not really looking to be sold, but there are talks about him going out to loan, which I think makes sense for him. There's been talks of him going down to the Championship, if not heading back to his native country in South Korea in the J-League to get some development time out there. And the final outgoing that seems most likely, especially with the rumour mill that's been happening over the last, specifically the last 24 hours, but it seems that we'll be losing either one of our lesser goalkeepers in Scott Bain or Benji Siegrist. The likelihood is that it's Siegrist because he was promised game time and hasn't really got it, and Celtic will want to keep Bain for Scottish reasons for UEFA regulations, so the chances are it's going to be Siegrist. So yeah, that's all the outgoings, that's everything we need to worry about in terms of what could happen in terms of anyone that leaves. There's obviously minor rumours with players like Kyogo and O'Reilly and Rio Atati as well. Atati's been linked to Brighton, although that's not concrete and there's no real confirmed rumours, it's just kind of fan speak right now. But the other one that's kind of picking up steam as the weeks go by is obviously Kyogo heading down to the Premier League, but I highly doubt that's going to happen, at least in this window. Maybe next season, because it would make sense, but Kyogo doesn't seem like the type of player that would bail on a team that's struggling right in the middle of a very crucial point of a season, so chances are we'll probably lose him in summer, but I don't think it's anything to worry about for now. On to the actual rumours now. We'll start with two players that basically have no real actual chance of signing with Celtic, but there have been talks about them, so I might as well bring them up just very briefly. Shankland, he was the first one, but of course the rumour mill right now seems to be leaning way more towards Rangers signing him than Celtic, which is fair enough. He supports Rangers, it's kind of his dream destination, I guess, if you're in a Scottish level club. Where he is right now, he's obviously at Hearts. There's also Bazunu for Southampton. Now, I've been speaking highly of this boy over the last few months, and I honestly thought there would be some chance of us maybe getting him, but Southampton have kind of made it clear that no one's going to be able to take him on loan. If they want to buy him, they're going to have to buy him outright, and I don't see Celtic realistically paying the 13.5, 15 million fee to bring him over, despite the fact they obviously love Celtic as it's the team he supports. But at the end of the day, it's just not money that I think the board would be willing to spend, and that kind of leads on very nicely in the next one, and unfortunately the saddest one. And that's all I had. Jota was offered back to us. For those that don't know, over the last 2 days, the last 48 hours, there have been open talks between Al Ittihad and any club that's interested on taking Jota back on loan and then buying him permanently in the summer for a fee of around £20 million, which would absolutely smash the transfer record for Celtic if we decided to do that. And we would get Jota back for £5 million less than we gave him out for, but obviously he's not really had a great stint at Ittihad, obviously with the manager being sacked and all that as well. It just kind of adds to it, so chances are we're not really going to see much of him. It is what it is, it's a shame. Now on to the ones that actually have a little bit of steam. Now I'll go through it positionally because it makes the most sense, and we'll start with the goalkeepers. Now the goalkeeper has without a doubt been the biggest problem in this team since the very moment the transfer window closed back in August, because even back then we all basically said, hey, we need a goalkeeper, and we never got one, and we knew problems were going to arise, and problems have arisen. Now it's kind of obvious, I'm not Hart's biggest fan. I think he's a great guy, but I think as a player he's absolute horseshit, so there's that. But yeah, there have been 3 goalkeepers that we've been primarily linked with over the last few weeks. There are 2 that have picked up very, very good steam. One that's kind of stalemated a little bit, and the one that's stalemated is Andre Lunin. For those that don't know, that's Real Madrid's backup goalkeeper, but he's still developmentally good, still a youngster that would have been able to come in and do a job for us, I feel. But as a guy that doesn't have too much experience, I'm not too disheartened on hearing that news. He was never a goalkeeper that I thought we would have gone for. The second option, though, the one that I've been speaking highly about and think there is a possibility, is Kelleher. And I genuinely think that if we don't go for the option that the next one seems to entail towards, this is the guy for me. Honestly, Kelleher makes sense. We can bring him in on loan if he's worthwhile. We pay the 7 to 10 million fee to bring him in permanently, and we work with that. And it also gives us like that 6 months, or not really 6 months, but a second half of a season to basically get a baseline on how Kelleher plays at the Scottish level. And it will obviously be nice for him to settle into a team, so that if we do decide to bite the bullet and pay for him fully, the chances are he'll be a lot more settled than other goalkeepers might be. The one that has kind of made me laugh, because I kind of joked about it after seeing the first Kelly performance against us, but Will Dennis, For those that don't know, he has been essentially the bane of our season so far. They put us out of the cup because of how great his performance was, and honestly, both times any time we've played Kilmarnock since, in close games or otherwise, he has been without a doubt their key player because he makes crucial stop after crucial stop, and he's been doing it consistently over the entire season, not just against Celtic or Rangers. Killie are doing way better than what most people would have placed them at. A lot of people kind of figured they'd be relegation playoff at best, but they're absolutely smooth sailing right now, and it's in big part to their defence. So you look at it like that, yeah, good signing, I think, if we decide to go for him, essentially. But the issue is very similar to one of the players I'll talk about later on. There are both Old Firm teams that are interested. Celtic and Rangers have both looked into Dennis for obvious reasons. Rangers will probably just want a good backup to Butland, which might kind of sway Dennis to sign towards Celtic, because obviously Celtic are looking for an outright replacement as it stands, and it's been kind of made clear that Hart next season will not be our main goalkeeper, which is good for my heart, but obviously it means that we're going to need to spend some form of money to bring a goalkeeper in. Now, there's been a couple of people on my Discord referring to a player called Wilhelmi Restes, who's I think Toulouse's goalkeeper off the top of my head, because I remember seeing that name in when Liverpool played against them. But he seems to be a good option as well if we decide to go for him, but the chances are, because Toulouse are still quite comfortably in Europe, they're not really going to maybe bite on that one as much, but there are a potential fee of around 6.2 from what I've seen. That seems to be the kind of baseline for how much you'd be paying for someone like him. But Will Dennis is way cheaper, because for those that don't know, Dennis isn't at Kilmarnock, he's at Bournemouth. However, he goes out of contract at the end of the season, so in my eyes, Dennis is the guy to go for, because you could basically steal him for Killie and pay nothing, and you've got a goalkeeper that has proven time and time again that he's got a very good save percentage in about him. So in my eyes, that makes the most sense. The one part of the kind of squad lineup that we haven't had too many rumours in is defence. There have only been 2 real rumour links, and both of them seem sort of unlikely, but they seem to have the most traction out of all the ones that I've seen. There were some that I didn't even write down, because you took one look at it and you're like, well, we're not going to get him. There was one that was like, oh, Nathan Ake on loan. Nah, that's not happening. But the one that's kind of picking up steam is Aaron Hickey from Brentford. Now, for those that don't know, he played in our academy. He's got a lot of ties with Celtic. It's his boyhood club. So the chances of getting him to come back here on mental merit is already through the roof. The issue being that Brentford have been playing him a lot more over the last, especially the last few months. He's been getting more and more game time, so it will be a case of how much will Brentford, first of all, want for him, and second of all, how much we would have to kind of twist the arm of the transfer value to try and get it to a place where we can afford it, because very similar to Jota, it would be very expensive to do, and again, I don't really see it happening, but it's one of the rumours, so I'm reading it out. The other one is Daniel Podence. That's basically the same as it was back in summer. There's the idea of bringing him in on loan and then buying him permanently. The fee in the summer was around £13.5 million, although it was £7.5 million up front. I don't know, because I haven't seen any transfer values or anything like that, but the kind of ballpark figure is around 10 million. And Podence can play as a left back as well as a left wing. He can actually do what Taylor wants to be able to do, so in terms of that, that makes sense. There's no rumours, unfortunately, of any centre-back signing so far, but then again, it is still, it's not even the start of January, it's the 21st of December, so there's still time. In the midfielder, we only have one major link, but it's a link I actually do have a lot of faith in us being able to pull off, mainly because A, he's cheap, but B, because he actually seems like he might have a lot of promise. Now, you might not know this player, but his name is Romeo Amani. He plays right now in Hacken, which you might not really recognise, but they are a team that play in Europe. They're a team that have done very, very well in Europe, might I add, and he's been one of those kind of key players for them. He's not really done too much in terms of goal contributions. He's only had the 2 assists in the league, I believe, no goals, but he is a very foundational, solid player, and one of the big things that we've always said is we need a player that's like McGregor, that's better than a Wata. I think Amani might fit that role because he's a strong, he's from Ivory Coast, he's got a good build to him, he's only 20 years old, I believe, as well, which is a massive plus for us in terms of youngster signings. and obviously he's played in the same league as Thiago Holmes, so it kind of gives him that benefit of the doubt as well. It's that you're going to get a similar type of player, except he plays just a little bit deeper, and the fee is only around £3 million, so it's 100% something that our board could throw at and not really worry about. And it seems to be picking up more traction as the hours tick by. Wingers, or inverted forwards, or attackers, we'll start with those. The biggest one that I'll read off right now, we've got Fabio Silva. Now, I am not personally the biggest fan of this one, mainly because his stats just don't really scream he's worth it. His transfer value sits at £35 million. Now, I'm going to clarify this, no one's going to buy him, but both Celtic and Rangers are wanting to bring him in on loan, mainly for squad depth. Now, what I'm imagining is that for Rangers, if they don't get Shankland, go for Silva on loan. What I'm imagining for Celtic is if they don't get one of the other two that I'll mention momentarily, go for him as well. So I'm not going to say too much about it because it might not really go anywhere, but Fabio Silva's another name to keep an eye out for as well. Now, strikers. Now, this one's a weird one. This one is very weird because Kyogo hasn't really been firing on all cylinders, so it makes sense that we're looking to bolster up the attack, especially with Owen not really pulling up the substitute numbers that a lot of people, myself included, thought that he might have actually been able to do. It's not to slight Kyogo at all, they're just not playing as good as they did, you know, in between January and the end of last season. It's been a very different stint. Since that point, Kyogo has been scoring goals. I'm not saying he's played bad by any means, but we do need a second striker option. And the two that have picked up the most speed so far anyway, you obviously have Chris Gordon. I've mentioned him a million times before, especially over the last few streams, the wonder kid for Brøndby. But the thing is, there might be a chance we lose out on him because Schalke have came forward with a preliminary bid of £7.1 million. So the chances that we might get him are slowly diminishing, but we kind of knew that we would have to pay around £8.5 million if we wanted to get him outright, because that's the locked fee. So Schalke are trying to play with the money a little bit, but there are teams obviously interested in him, and if we want him, we're going to have to go for him. He's had a very good start to his season, he's had a very good start to his campaign, he's played a lot of good football, couple of goals, couple of really good assists, but if we don't get him, we don't get him. It is what it is. The other one obviously being Miovski. So I mean, I've kind of made my opinions very clear on my streams. Go and check them out, by the way. I'll be live for the Livingston game, that'll be the next one. So, but yeah, Miovski's obviously been one of Aberdeen's key players, especially over the last year or so. Definitely over the last season, Barry Robson's kind of got the best out of him. He's a solid tall hold-up player that can take a touch and spread the play. So if we decide to go for him, we're looking at around £4 million. That seems to be the minimum fee. Respectable, but I think there's better options, and this leads on to the player that I think we might actually end up landing. And finally, we head to the Greek league. Panathinaikos have a striker by the name of Fotis Ioannidis, and I think he seems to be the one that Rodgers has the most steam towards going for, because we put in a preliminary request for how much we'd have to pay. His stats look insanely good, and I mean insanely good. 24 appearances, this man has 14 goals, 5 assists, and 7 of those goals have been in Europe, which for us has been a massive problem, so you can see why I might be a little bit excited about this one. The issue being that he is obviously, because of his goal scoring remarks and the fact that obviously there's teams that are interested in him, it might be harder to pry him, especially in January, but the overall kind of consensus is that he wants to move to Celtic. Celtic want him. It's just about figuring out that fee and, more importantly, what he wants to do, because obviously Panathinaikos are doing very well in their league respectively right now, so you know there's a chance he might want to see the season out first, but there's always the chance that we could go for him, and I think that might be the one that will kind of give me the most excitement, I think, because again, proven goal scorer in a good league, young, still can develop. There's a lot of positives to bringing in a player like him, but obviously Panathinaikos will realise they've got a player on their hands and they'll try and kind of pick and pluck as much extra funds out of them as possible, which they're more than valid to do. So we've done it with Jota in the past, so makes sense. But yeah, that's basically every single transfer rumour that's of note. Like I said, there are other ones out there that might pick up speed as the days go by. Hell, by the time I even edit and make this video, chances are there's probably someone that's just came out of nowhere that we're almost dead set to sign, but at least as it stands, that's what we're working with. If you enjoyed this video, like I said, you can subscribe and you can recommend me more sort of stuff that you'd like to see me kind of cover. I'm not really opposed to covering other, you know, leaks and news systems like that. But again, I don't make videos too often, so I have to make it with a purpose in mind. So again, I appreciate you if you've stuck around to the end of this video. There's obviously a lot of different things to look forward to in the new year as well, but I hope you have a good rest of your new year regardless. And yeah, hopefully by the time we play Rangers, this video should be out before the Rangers match at the very least. So, you know, maybe the Christmas gift is me predicting it. You know, we'll win. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for coming along. And yeah, I've been Caucasian. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Peace.